Listen to me. Listen closely. Can you feel that stirring in your soul, that small voice whispering hope when all else seems lost? That whisper isn't an illusion. It's not a trick of your mind or a passing fantasy. It is the unshackable truth that every dark moment you have endured, every late night worry you have whispered into the silence, every seemingly endless valley you have trudged through, today marks the start of a brand new chapter. You have been tested. You have been squeezed. You have been pushed to the brink and back again. But I need you to hear me. The trials are over. You have arrived at the doorstep of transformation. You are God's chosen ones. I'm not standing here because I've read an inspiring quote on a coffee mug or stumbled upon a feel-good story. I'm standing here because life has carried me through storms I never asked to face, moments that made me question my very purpose, and nights so dark I thought the morning would never come. I have walked those desert roads, tasted the dust of despair, and felt the heat of hopelessness. And guess what I discovered out there in that wilderness? I found a wellspring of something deeper than my pain, something luminous hidden within me, waiting to be unleashed. That discovery, that sense of calling, is why I speak with urgency. Too many people never realize that they're not punishment but preparation for a victory they can't yet see. You might be wondering, is this really for me? Could my season of pain actually be the gateway to something better? Yes. Absolutely yes. Look around you. We live in a world where endless notifications, relentless comparison, and constant distraction threaten to drown out the small voice calling us to greatness. Yet you feel that pang in your heart, don't you? That longing to break free of the clutter, to stop tiptoeing around your dreams, to stand on higher ground. You have glimpsed something more for yourself, even if you can't quite name it. That is the power of faith revealing itself in real time. That is the promise that the deserts we traverse are not endless. I want you to seize that spark and fan into a blazing fire of conviction. If you're tired, if you've been on your knees asking how much more you can take, hold tight. There is a reason for this journey, and that reason is about to make itself known. Too many of us believe the finish line is forever out of reach, that the setbacks, heartbreaks, and disappointments define us. But the truth is that each struggle was a stepping stone, each heartbreak a lesson in resilience, each disappointment a chance to grow in wisdom. Now, in this moment, we gather to acknowledge that something is shifting in the atmosphere. You have paid your dues in sweat and tears. You have carried burdens that were never yours to hold indefinitely. The time has come to release them. The time has come to declare that your trials have shaped you, but will no longer confine you. No more second guessing, no more limiting beliefs, no more letting the world tell you who you are or what you can be. Step up, step out, and lean into this glorious new beginning because you are chosen for such a time as this. And this is where we face the heart of the matter. You have a choice tonight. You can keep living as though your failures define you, or you can accept this deeper calling and step into the light. That choice, this moment of accepting that you are God's chosen, changes everything. It transforms despair into hope, fear into courage, and aimless wandering into purposeful action. Are you ready to embrace it? Now, let's dig into what it truly means to stand tall as God's chosen ones, to let go of your trials as a past chapter, and to claim the victory that's been waiting for you all along. You might feel tension as you consider the cost of change, the weight of leaving behind your old stories, the fear of stepping away from familiar struggles. That tension is natural. But I promise you, when you push through it, when you stand boldly in your identity, you'll discover that every burden you carried was preparing you for a mountain you were destined to climb. You'll discover the hope that has been woven into your life's tapestry since the very beginning. This is not about ignoring reality or dismissing genuine challenges. This is about you standing in your rightful place and saying, Wes, I am chosen and my trials do not get the last word. My story does. Hold on to that truth as we move forward, because we are diving into the deeper waters now. We're going to confront the lies that keep us small. We're going to expose the mindset that chains us to our past. And we're going to rise up in faith like never before. Open your heart. Open your mind. Lean in. This journey we're about to embark upon, this expedition into the fullness of your calling, will ignite the courage buried deep inside you. Step into it. Believe in it, because if you do, you will never be the same again. I want you to picture your life as a grand stage set for a performance that will inspire generations to come. The lights are turning up. The curtain is drawing back. The tension is building. And just as the conductor lifts the baton, you stand center stage, ready for the spotlight to shine upon you. That moment, this moment belongs to you if you are bold enough to claim it. So, let's go. Let's confront the first key reality of stepping into your divine calling. You see, the first truth is that being chosen isn't about never stumbling. It's about trusting the purpose behind every trial. Now ask yourself, how many times have you questioned why life has been so relentless? How many times have you wondered if your trials were signs that you're not meant for greatness? Listen carefully. Your challenges were never meant to break you permanently. They were wake-up calls, forging a spiritual backbone, building your character so you can hold the weight of the destiny you're about to embrace. If you run from your struggles, if you refuse to understand the lessons they carry, you risk delaying your growth indefinitely. The tragedy is not the trial itself, but the failure to discover the treasure it holds. And let me tell you, there is treasure in every bruise, every scar, every tear. I recall a young man who grew up in a turbulent neighborhood, fighting for scraps of dignity, living in the shadow of fear. He believes many do, that his environment was his identity, that he could never rise above the chaos around him. Life battered him until he reached a crossroads, either retreat into bitterness or fight for his dreams. He chose to fight. He wrestled with self-doubt, overcame a cycle of loss, and clung to faith. Over time, he realized that every confrontation, every heartbreak, every time he fell short was training him to become a mentor for others stuck in that same cycle of hopelessness. His trials didn't happen to him, they happened for him so he could eventually lift others out of their darkness. I invite you to see your own hardships in that same light. They are not pointless. They are your personal boot camp, forging the resilience and empathy needed to stand on the front lines of your destiny. If you ignore this truth, if you let bitterness fester, if you see trials only as curses, you risk missing the voice that calls you to growth. You might remain stuck, circling the same mountains of pain and regret year after year. The fallout from refusing to learn is a life spent repeating the same lessons until you finally wake up. And I don't want that for you. I want you to break free from that cycle. How? First, look at your trials through a lens of growth. What can I learn here? Then, choose humility. Acknowledge that you don't have all the answers, but you serve a purpose greater than any single disappointment. Finally, share your story. The moment you speak about your trial with honesty is the moment you reclaim power over it. Don't hoard your story in shame. Let it inspire. Let it guide. Let it be a lamp for someone else stumbling along a similar path. Are you hearing me tonight? This is your invitation to rewrite your narrative. I'm not telling you to paint your past in glossy colors or to pretend the pain wasn't real. I'm telling you to harness every ounce of pain, every tear of frustration as building materials for your calling. Stand with courage. Reflect on how far you've come and prepare yourself for the glorious horizon that awaits. Today is the day you say, "My trials are the stepping stones to my testimony." And with that, we move to the next understanding of what it means to be chosen. I want you to imagine standing at the edge of a vast ocean, the waves crashing at your feet, the horizon stretching endlessly before you. The second truth is that acceptance of your calling involves a profound shift from self-doubt to radical faith. Have you ever felt that tug inside, that sense you're meant to do something extraordinary, yet your mind fires off all the reasons it can't be done? Let me tell you, that wrestling match in your mind is not a sign that you're unworthy. It's proof that you're on the verge of greatness. The enemy loves to sow doubt at the very threshold of your breakthrough. That's when you must declare with unwavering conviction that you are ready to walk on water. Let's talk about the weight of self-doubt for a moment. It can creep in at the most inopportune times. You start a new project, and suddenly you remember every failure you've ever experienced. You step out to serve your community, and a nagging voice reminds you of your shortcomings. You reach for a big dream, and instantly the naysayers, often masquerading as your own thoughts, tell you you're out of your depth. Those moments are precisely the juncture where many people turn back. They label themselves as incapable, undeserving, not cut out for big responsibilities. But guess what? True faith isn't about the absence of doubt. It's about choosing to move forward despite it. It's about hearing that voice of self-criticism and deciding it no longer dictates your destiny. Let me give you a real-world picture. I recall a woman who felt a calling to start a mentorship program for at-risk youth. She had no formal background in social work. She wasn't wealthy. She didn't have a large network of influential friends. Yet something in her soul burned for these teenagers who felt they had no future. While wrestling with her own self-doubt, am I even qualified to do this? She took the leap. She rented a small space, gathered a few volunteers, and began hosting workshops. Word spread. More and more young people came, drawn by an environment of genuine love and acceptance. In time, that woman's name became synonymous with empowerment in her community. She realized that radical faith was the antidote to self-doubt. The day she said yes to her calling, even though her mind was screaming no, was the day lives started changing forever, hers included. If you don't make this shift, if you don't cross the threshold from self-doubt to faith, you become trapped in a perpetual cycle of almost but not quite. You almost start that business. You almost mend that broken relationship. You almost step into leadership. And each time you pull back, you reinforce the idea that you weren't chosen after all. That kind of back and forth living tears you apart inside. The solution is to ground yourself in the knowledge that you have a divine appointment. When the storms of what if I fail and what if I'm not good enough rage in your mind, anchor yourself in the unchanging truth. You are here for a reason. You are not a cosmic accident. You are handcrafted with gifts designed to uplift, influence, and transform. Start with small steps if you must, but move. Action is the gateway to eliminating doubt. And here's the beauty of it. Once you start walking in faith, you'll notice a ripple effect. The conviction you carry becomes infectious. People around you sense that you're not operating out of mere personal ambition, but from a deeper well of purpose. They see it in your eyes, hear it in your voice. They witness your unwavering determination and begin to ask themselves, could I do that too? Faith, when exercised boldly, multiplies in the hearts of others. You become a beacon, guiding those still imprisoned by doubt toward the shore of possibility. That's the power of your yes. So let this truth sink into your bounds. You might be trembling, you might have doubts, but step forward anyway, because faith was never meant to be timid. It was meant to be fierce, transformative, and unstoppable. And from that fire of faith, we glide into our next revelation. It's time to talk about service. You see, being one of God's chosen is not just about thriving individually. It's about elevating others. Your trials didn't just happen so you could emerge stronger. They happened so you could guide others through their own storms. That is the third truth chosen people empower. Take a second and reflect. How have your struggles enabled you to speak hope into someone else's life? Have you ever considered that the most painful chapter in your story might become the most inspiring chapter in someone else's? Because that's how it works in God's economy. Nothing is wasted. Every tear that fell, every cry in the night, every desperate prayer you whispered, He repurposes it all for good, not just for you, but for those in desperate need of hope. I think of a man I once knew who battled addiction for years. He was consumed by shame, convinced he had no value to offer the world. Then came a moment, maybe you've experienced something like this, where he realized the darkness he was living in was not the end. He checked himself into a rehabilitation center, faced the demons that had tormented him, and surrendered to a higher power. His journey was grueling, but guess what he did once he came out on the other side? He didn't keep his newfound freedom to himself. No. He went back into the trenches, started a support group, and used his story to break chains in other people's lives. Today, He's a pillar of his community, a beacon of hope for everyone who thinks their story is beyond redemption. He understood that being chosen carries responsibility. When you have been set free, you extend your hand to free others. Let's not gloss over the impact of ignoring this call to serve. If you remain self-focused, if you take your blessings and hoard them, you rob yourself of the fullness of your destiny. The more you pour out, the more you are refilled. That's the paradox of living a life of service. If you cling to your comfort and stay silent, you stifle the transformative power that wants to flow through you. You might stay physically safe, but your soul will know it's missing out on something grander. How do you step into service? You start by asking, where is there pain in the world that resonates with me? Which people do I feel especially drawn to help? Then you act. Maybe you volunteer at a local shelter. Maybe you mentor a younger colleague at work. Maybe you speak up on behalf of those who have no voice. Service is not always glamorous, but it is powerful and necessary. It's the fertile ground where chosen people plant seeds of hope and watch them blossom in ways they never imagined. As you embrace service, you unite all three truths. You see your trials as preparation, you defeat self-doubt through faith, and you channel your experiences to lift others out of darkness. And in that union, you find the heart of what it means to be chosen. It's not about perfection or recognition. It's about the commitment to rise from the ashes and then use those ashes to write someone else's resurrection story. That's the cycle of blessing, and it's unstoppable. Now, take a moment. Breathe. Do you feel it? The tension in the room, the anticipation, the collective heartbeat of every soul that senses something extraordinary is happening. We've walked through the trials. We've confronted self-doubt, and we've recognized the call to serve. Now it's time to wrap all these threads together, to weave them into a final tapestry that resonates with the undeniable truth. Your trials are over. Your new journey begins. Look back for a moment on everything we've uncovered about your trials being purposeful, your faith being a mighty shield against doubt, and your calling to serve as the greatest expression of your newfound freedom. These points form the backbone of your story going forward. They remind you that your scars are not proof of shame, but marks of wisdom. They show you that you can stand in the face of criticism and adversity because your foundation is built on something unbreakable. They convince you that your life is not about making it alone, but about bringing others along with you into the light. No matter how impossible it once seemed, your storms have ended. That doesn't mean you'll never face adversity again, but it does mean the specific trials that once chained you to fear, regret, or hopelessness have served their ultimate purpose. The question is, will you honor the growth they generated within you? Will you celebrate the resilience now etched into your bones? Will you pay forward the blessings that have come your way, turning your survival into someone else's revival? I want you to envision your life from this day onward as though you stand on a mountaintop overlooking a vast landscape. Down below, you see the winding roads you traveled, the valleys where you nearly gave up, and the rivers you bravely crossed. You see the old battles that used to loom like giants, now small and distant, mere memories overshadowed by the magnitude of your triumph. And standing with you on this peak are those who have walked a similar journey. Those who believed in you when you didn't believe in yourself, and those you will now encourage as they begin their own ascent. In this grand panorama, you see the truth: you are not alone. You never were. And you stand as a testament that faith, perseverance, and service overcome every trial. This is the moment for courageous action. Don't let the significance of this hour slip away. If your heart is pounding, that's a sign you're ready. If your mind is swirling with possibilities, that's the spark of destiny urging you forward. Take the first step. Maybe it's a phone call you've been dreading, an apology you need to offer or accept, a project you've been postponing, or a commitment to volunteer. Whatever it is, make it today. Let the world see you standing in your God-ordained place, confident and humble, fierce and gracious, hungry to serve and ready to grow. When you take that bold leap, people around you will notice a change. They'll see your eyes shining differently, a fresh authority in your voice. They'll ask, "What happened to you?" And you'll answer, "I learned my trials were never meant to break me. They were forging me for this exact moment." That simple testimony, spoken with sincerity, has the power to free another soul from the chains of doubt. Because when we publicly acknowledge that we are chosen, that our pain has a purpose, we invite everyone within earshot to consider that they too might be chosen. Let the ripple effect begin. The world needs men and women who are unafraid to stand in their calling. The world needs hearts so alive with faith that they transform doubt into possibility, sorrow into joy, and stagnation into forward momentum. The world needs you, yes, you, with all your quirks, your past, your wounds, your dreams, exactly as you are right now. You might think you're underqualified, but in God's eyes, you are perfectly poised. You might think you're too broken, but in God's plan, your brokenness is the exact vessel through which light shines the brightest. You might think you don't have the influence or resources to make an impact, but let me assure you, one act of courage, one word of encouragement can create a domino effect that reaches far beyond what you can see. Today, as we stand together, I challenge you to break every chain of self-limitation, every thread of shame, every excuse you've ever made. Declare with me that the storms are passing, the trials are finished, and the harvest is here. Declare that you will walk in the fullness of your mission, fueled by faith, shaped by adversity, and anchored in love. Dare to dream. Dare to step out of hiding. Dare to claim the peace and power that come with stepping into your destiny. Dare to be the person you were created to be, a vessel of divine purpose, unstoppable in the face of any obstacle. And as you do, never forget that we are all connected. Your breakthrough is my breakthrough. My victory echoes in your life. When one of us rises, we all rise. That's the power of chosen people united in faith and vision. We tear down walls of division. We build bridges of empathy. We speak life where there was once despair. We become living proof that with God, even the impossible becomes possible. So let this be the banner over your life from this day on. You are chosen. Your trials do not define you. They refine you. Your faith is the key that unlocks doors you thought forever closed. Your life of service is the testimony that turns ashes into beauty for others. And your willingness to say, Wes, reverberates across generations, creating a legacy of hope that extends far beyond your years on this earth. It's time. Time to step off the sidelines and onto the field of your destiny. Time to look in the mirror and see not someone broken or unworthy, but someone appointed for greatness. Time to forgive the past, to set aside grievances, to lay down bitterness, and to walk boldly into the promise that your trials have run their course. You've survived them. Now it's your hour to thrive. Take a moment. Close your eyes if you need to, and lock this truth into your heart. You have a role to play in a story bigger than yourself. You are not an extra in someone else's drama. You are the main character in a narrative of redemption, hope, and victory. Now open your eyes. See the possibilities in front of you. Feel the energy surging within you. Hear the call urging you forward. When you step out of this space, let your very presence signal that a new season has begun. Show the world what it looks like when trials give birth to triumphant testimony. Show the world how unstoppable a person becomes when they believe with every fiber of their being that they are God's chosen. And then, most importantly, invite others to join you. Reach out your hand. Pull someone else out of the quicksand of doubt. Speak life over the hopeless. Shine a beacon of light into someone's darkness. Because that's what chosen people do. My friends, this is your moment of release. The trials behind you are finished. The horizon ahead of you is bright with promise. Stand tall. Breathe deep. Move forward with passion. Embrace the extraordinary life that has been waiting for you all along. Your testimony is about to echo through time. And when people ask you how you made it, you can say with boldness, I finally understood that God's chosen ones aren't destroyed by trials. They are defined by triumph. Now go forth and live it. Let the world feel the thunder of your faith, the warmth of your love, and the brilliance of your light. God's chosen ones, your trials are over. Your victory has just begun. Go claim it.